for you niggas, no question. You would run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Yeah, buddy. Sunday, LDBC Strong, man. Let's get it, man. Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to Mighty LDBC. Let's do this roll call real quick. I want to get to this topic. I like this topic. Coach Hudson, salute to you, brother. You was cooking earlier. You was absolutely cooking. Amen. Jimmy Bernard, D-Man, Eric Jordan, Sam Mack, Mr. Shelton in the building, Mark Wunderlich, Straight Combo, salute. Do me a favor, y'all. Share this video. I should be back broadcasting also on my other channel, Behind the Prince, salute. Maybe Wednesday. You know what I mean? So like the video, share the video. Say hello to Miguel and his boyfriend, Jerome. I'm just going to be more thorough and polite as I tell you EAD. It's an acronym. So let's get to it, man. Salute to the family coming into the building. Good evening, Stormy. How are you, good brother?
Man, good evening. I am well. Glad to be here. Glad to be able to continue to provide a safe haven for boxing aficionados. I got a call this morning from Junior the Truth.
Yes, sir.
Junior says, Stormy, we got to do something.
Yes, sir.
And so because he, Junior, he has so many irons in the fire. You have to ask him specific, what you mean? What you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
Junior want to do a collaboration.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that's gonna be
it's gonna be flame.
Yes,
I'm gonna get flavored popcorn for that.
I am excited about it. And I've been talking to him, and encouraging him, because when he does talk boxing, because he, like I said, he's got a lot of irons in the fire, but
yeah,
when he does talk about boxing, he contributes mightily to
yes, he does.
What's not there. And I have a total appreciation for him. And for him to say that to me and be like, hey, it perked me up. It really did. So be looking for that. So maybe sometime next month we're gonna.
Oh man, that's gonna be
something. I'm
gonna be there front and center for that, man. Quan Big Guns, my brother Smoking Talk in the building. Real Baltimore. Y'all go subscribe to my family, Smoking Talk Podcast LLC. Real Baltimore in the building. Salute. Yes, I'll be looking for you and Junior cooking. Definitely. I'm gonna be looking for that. I'm gonna get the flavored popcorn, my favorite beverage. I'm with it. Hell yeah. Yeah, and you say that Junior got a lot of MXC, salute. He got a lot of irons in the fire. He does, man. I had to call the brother last week and we chopped it up. And I just had to tell him thank you. Sometimes you gotta do that. I had to tell him, yo, thank you, brother, man, because he came out and he did a live stream, and I said, man, that hit home so thorough for me. I said, man, let me get this brother all his roses while he could smell them. You know what I mean? You got to do that, man. You have to do that to people, man. You have to. Feel me?
Yeah, and he surprises me sometimes because I'll be sitting there watching the fights like I was yesterday, and the phone ring, and it's Junior. Yeah. Yo, Stormy, what you think about this and what you think about that? And we get to talking. Like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta get back to this, Yep, but it's just funny because I can totally get it, because after having conversations, and he literally be on the move a lot, so it's like it's great when he can take that moment out. That's why sometimes when I write in his chat or something, and I'll say something, oh, you didn't call me back or something. I just be ribbing him, because I know the brother be doing a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
But it's great to have people like that you can commune with and everything, and it's real solid, and I really appreciate brother like that, having him as an alliance,
He's a major leg in what we do here, definitely. Main Event Mark, salute, man. So let's get to it, man. You and I spoke a couple of days ago, and I said, we need to have this conversation about the term dog in boxing and how it's applied and who do we apply it to. But now the Mexican, salute. MXC, salute if I missed you. And I think it's imperative to have this because we're at a point in the sport now where we're starting to see certain things. And one of the major things that we can't stand that we always talk about is fighters getting a lot of attention for the wrong reasons. And fighters getting a lot of praise and getting capes put on them and crowns put on them where it's like it's not they didn't earn it yet. But what's been happening is when we say, hold on, he or she hasn't done A, B, and C yet, and they have a contemporary here and over there, instead of the audience saying, that's true, I think they could beat them. So let's see when that happens. Instead, what I notice is these new style fanatics, it's therapeutic for them to refer to people like us as the term haters, which is still a relatively new term for me. Shout out to Mary J. Blige, whatever, it was a street term, a hater. Means you're jealous. First and foremost, I'm not jealous of no man. I've had men in prestigious positions in life, more money, better cars, bigger house, and for some reason they're jealous of me. And I'm like, what is that? All right. We talk about that with Floyd Mayweather all the time. You know what that's about? He always wanted to be over 6 feet tall, and it never happened for him. So that bothers him. That's why he leads with his pockets. He leads with his money, his cars, and I got a pep talk coming up about him too, because he just tried to bag a 19-year-old influencer, and she's dating a 27-year-old. I saw that. I just saw that. Gerard Harlem in the building. Del Riff, salute. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on there, but I do know what's going on. But when you're leading with your pockets, you can't lead with your personality. That's a bit of a character flaw. So I'm not jealous of no man. So when you young boxing fanatics say, oh, we're just hating on what? I watch the sport for what it is. The sensei says daily, watch the sport. This guy's the best in the business. Who's his rival? I want him to fight the rival so I can see who's the better between them. That's all I ever wanted. And y'all know who I'm talking about, but it's not only who you think I'm talking about. It was a bunch of people. Some questions we got answered, some we didn't. And there's a lot of things being revealed. Now, as it pertains to the term dog, it's two definitions. When I first started hearing the term in the gym, it was like, yo, this dude got dogged out or dog walked, meaning somebody got the business put on him. And it was a bad thing. When someone says you got dogged, that's what that meant. Now, later on, I started hearing people saying, yo, he's a dog. What does that mean? It means when you see a fighter hit that wall and the odds are against him or her, and you hear Stormy talk about switching gears. You heard people say, oh man, this guy had another gear. He has a gear. That means he had to go up a notch. He's not in cruise control anymore. He has to smash the gas. All right. And sometimes the skill set ain't working, so he got to fight. It's not a boxing match. He got to fight. And a lot of times he wins. Perfect example of what I'm saying is Deontay Wilder. He never outweighed anybody he fought, and he's been put up against the test in many a fight. He's been hurt, and a lot of times he's prevailed. That's a dog. Getting up off the floor to win. Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev, the first fight. First round, Andre got dropped, and this was a hard-punching ass Kovalev. Andre Ward got up off the floor and proceeded to whoop his ass. Andre Ward is a dog. Never mind the money, never mind the looks, never mind the cars or whatever. He's a dog. Now, let me go back to Floyd Mayweather. Now, of course, you know, his behavior gets on our nerves. But y'all do know he was a dog in that ring, right? Floyd Mayweather was a dog in that ring. I have nothing bad to say about him in that ring. Floyd Mayweather was a dog. If you don't know what I'm talking about, a lot of y'all don't know. Y'all call him Chicken Floyd and run around the ring. No, don't believe that. Go back and watch the DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley fight. Go watch the Shane Mosley fight. Go watch the Zab Judah fight. Go watch Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather's career prior to Money May when he was with Top Rank. Floyd was
watch him against Cotto.
Miguel Cotto, yes. Floyd Mayweather Jr. was a dog. And by today's standards, there are guys, they're around, they may be winning, but those questions are not answered. And what happens is when we come along and say, well, yo, look, he got contemporaries. I want to see if this guy got the dog out of him. Maybe he beats his contemporaries so bad that we'll never see it. Like Roy Jones Jr. dominated 175 once upon a time. Nobody was dealing with him in 175. He was that damn good. Maybe it's like that. But what I'm saying is if we never get to know, I can't say that this fighter's a dog. But I'm going to land my plane right there. I'm going to give it to you, Sensei. You go ahead.
Yeah. Another way of considering a fighter having dog in him is considering a fighter's constitution, his makeup, what makes him who he is. And when you have fighters who have displayed that, there's no doubt about when they sign to fight and face opponents that you have to question it because it's been on display. Now, when you talk about what's on display, it's those elements of fortitude, the things that are unseen on the page, because you need scenarios to understand how someone can operate under duress, under pressure, under stress, under circumstances that are difficult. It does not connotate you wanting to see the person lose.
Right.
You want to see them figure things out.
Correct.
And we have a lot of fighters in today's era who are not necessarily placed in position to face that. There are avenues and routes of escape that they have optimized to keep them from going through to reveal those very things. And so it's a bit of a tightrope walk that they have when they're deceiving, because there is a thin line between the discovery of what's beneath the surface and what's being covered up. There is a thin line, and certain players in the sport who've been around, that you could call them managers, you could call them promoters. They know how to mask these things, especially when they know what they're dealing with. But remember, their job is to sell you
That's right.
on the game. Remember, the game is to be sold, not told.
Told.
Isn't it
Thank
said?
you. Mm-hmm.
So when you have that, and you have someone like myself, salute to our brother Trick Noty. What's going on with you, Trick?
Yes, sir.
So when you have people like that, and you have someone like myself who can come across as to the followers, they'll say, "Oh, he's hating, the sensei hating, or whatever." No, I know how to evaluate.
Mm-hmm.
You see, everybody can't evaluate.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they have people who are scouts who go and pick, young folks that they want to come to their school and play for their teams. Or in the professional leagues, they have people who go out and scout the talent to say, hey, our team is in need of these positions to be filled, and athletes to fulfill their duties in this. And so you have to be able to say, okay, I need this from here and that from there to be able to evaluate. See, some people just are struck by what awes them, and it could be something very minuscule. That's why when I listen to Frank Warren talk about a talent, I really hate to hear his evaluation, because his for an ongoing thing is, oh, he can really punch. If you ever listen to Frank Warren, that's all he talks about. Someone being able to punch. And it is so shallow that even I had many years ago, when I was working with people in the gym, I used to explain anybody could ball their fist up and hit another person. But not everyone knows when, where, why, how, and what is the purpose behind when you want to deliver this. But at the same time, to be able to understand that the other person has the same mindset to do it to you. So that means you even have to think about these things a little bit more intricately. And it's like, it's not so easy. It's not something to scratch the surface. And that's a conversation. Like I said, I've done shows on stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, wow. But to be able to evaluate and make assessments. Some people may have thought, like my post-fight show, I was being overly critical last night of what was on display. No, I spoke the facts about what was on display and how we need to see some other things now.
Yeah.
We should have been seeing them prior to now, really, because you're talking about 35 fights in. Come on now. Come on.
Let's get to that. Let me read these super chats. We're gonna get to that. Eric Jordan. I swear to God, Eric Jordan don't waste no time. He says, he said, dogs go for broke. Fury of the Ninja Sword heavyweight.
Give power to my nigga sword.
Salute to Don Vaughn, brother, in that super chat. Much love. He says, salute. You also have a few honey badgers in the sport who no one wants problems with. Yeah. Honey badgers, that's a very dangerous animal. That's a very dangerous. If you don't know, don't get fooled by the name. If you come home and there's one in the house, leave, because he don't have to pay rent. Just go get somebody. For real. Let me go to Trick real quick. My brother Trick Noty in the building. Salute.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now. Yeah.
You hear me?
Yep.
Oh, how y'all doing, man? How you doing this evening?
Man, we doing good, brother.
Good.
We doing good.
Good, bro.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we talking about what it is to be a dog in the sport. It is to be a dog in the sport, and we just not we're getting it from some, we're not getting it from others. But the expectation is high. And the people that are put on this pedestal, we just haven't seen that. We just haven't seen that. And that brings us up to Jerron Boots Ennis. Now, first and foremost, salute to Jerron. Salute to his black father, Boozy. All right, let me go on. Let's say that.
Yes.
Let's say that. Salute to them. Boots did what he was supposed to do. I never heard of Lima, but I'm going to tell you what concerned me about this fight. What concerned me was the unknown. I didn't like that. What also concerned me was the fact that Eddie Hearn is probably the worst matchmaker in the history of the sport in the last maybe 10 years. So that concerned me. And I said, man, Boots, Boots fighting in Philly. And I don't know this Lima dude. I literally had to YouTube him. And I'm like, man, and then Eddie Hearn not being a good matchmaker. I said, man, this is bad. I don't like this. Because we had no data on him. But you know what? Boots went in there and said, you know what? F the data. I'm going to show you who I am. You know how he did him? You remember when Roy Jones fought that cop because they said if you don't fight the cop, we're going to take your title. He fought him on HBO. And that's the only reason why Roy took that fight. Because Roy didn't want to take the fight. He said, yo, I'm going to beat the shit out this guy. And they said, look, I forget what that was. Who? His last name was Frazier. Richard Frazier. And the only marketing point.
He's a top of New York, right?
I think so. The only marketing that they had for him was he punched someone and killed them with a punch. That was the only I said, man, this is boxing. Don't nobody care. And Roy got him out of there in one round, and he was like, man, I ain't want to do it. I ain't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? But, he did that crap. So Boots went in there and did Lima dirty. Boots let everyone know we all knew. If I never heard of you, you're not in the top 5, this is what I'm going to do to you. Now, with that being said, when I say this fighter's a dog, do you think that I'm applying that to Jerron Boots Ennis? That was a rhetorical question. The answer is no. Do you know why? Because I don't know. Jerron Ennis has not shown me enough. You know why? He hasn't been put in the mix with his contemporaries. I can't say whether he's a dog or not. I'm not saying he don't have it in him. All right. Now, Cameron gave him some resistance in the rematch, but Boots was still in control of the fight for the most part. I'm talking about Boots. It's round 10, and you're watching it like, I don't know if he's winning this. Does he have another gear? Can he pull it out the bag? Does he have another gear? Like, you know what? Boxing's not working. This not working. Righty southpaw's not working. You know what? Nah, I got to go get it. Can Boots do it? I'm saying I don't know. I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying I don't know. Now, he's getting a lot of praise, right? We praised him. Now it's time for him to fight his contemporaries. I said last night, I said it in the Stormy's chat. I said it in the General's chat. I said it in BFTB's chat. I said, listen, man, moving forward at this time, don't nobody want to see that shit anymore. I've never been the type to just root for a guy because he's knocking the crap out of everybody. I'm not that type. Moving forward, he has at least 4 contemporaries that I want to see him fight. Virgil Ortiz, Errol Spence, Mel Charlo, or Baccarat. That's it. Fight those guys. And I'm going to tell you something else. You don't even have to win. Business-wise, it helps if you win. But the fact that I see you actively pursuing those names, that'll be satisfying to me. Just make it happen. But for me, when I call you a dog, that's a term of endearment. And I can't say that about Boots right now. But shout out to Boots because he separated himself last night. What we learned from Boots last night was that if you're not on that, where was Lima in the rankings? I don't even know, man. I never heard of this dude until he said he was fighting him. I said, who the fuck is this? If it's not top 5, I don't want to hear it. And Boots don't want to hear it clearly because he's gonna do you dirty. So now, can you go in there and try and do Errol dirty? Can you try and do Victor Ortiz. I said Victor Ortiz. No, that's the wrong Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz, dirty. Can you try that? Bakram, he don't even have nothing lined up. That dude is dangerous, man. That dude dangerous. Do that. And the X factor is Eddie Hearn, because I firmly believe Eddie Hearn's lining them up for Conor Benn. He's lining them up for Conor Benn in Wembley. But more on that when we know more about his opponent moving forward. Trick, your thoughts on that? Might be a little delay. You can hear me, Trick?
Yeah, I think it's a little delay.
Yeah, it's a delay. You want to go out and come back in? Coach Hutchins, yeah, he'll go out and come back in. Coach said he's ranked number 8. I never heard of him. That was crazy. I never heard of him.
Well, he had the IBO super welterweight title, and the thing about that is usually guys who will have that title will be regional champions, like a guy out of the UK. What's that guy's name with the bald head that Anthony Yard just beat for the 3rd time?
Oh, that's oh man, why am I having a brain fart? Freedom's Marching, that super chat. Salute to you, brother. Thank you so much. What is that guy's name? I watched that fight.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, that guy, Arthur. There you go. Lyndon Arthur. There you go. Thank you.
Switchblade. Thank you.
Switchblade. Yeah. Lyndon Arthur, he was an IBO champion, if I'm not mistaken. You know, so he's UK level, top UK level, but that doesn't mean he's world level.
Right.
But that's just like you could have a guy here, he could be the best out of Texas, but that don't make him the best in America. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Huge region, not much bigger or the size of the UK itself. So that means that Lima, he had that going for him, but what he should have also had going for him is, and this is the difference between Hearn, Frank Warren, Ben Shalom, even Salida, who was promoting Clarissa Shields, Bob Arum. Don King used to build the guys up. He would put them in showcase opportunities. So you could see you got your main man right here, but there's a guy coming over here. We never got that with Hearn, with anyone. So when he goes out and he pulls a guy out of a bag and you're like, well, who is this dude? It becomes that thing of like, okay, we don't know him. That's just like with Josh Padley fighting Shakur. Now, the good thing was Padley was a fighter who had been building his level. He fought this weekend, by the way, himself.
Sure did. I watched it.
And he's been getting better and better and better and has been defeating other fighters who were undefeated. Now, he took the fight with Shakur on short notice.
Yeah.
He didn't have a full camp. He wasn't in the position that he's in presently after having fought Shakur because Turkey was able to retire him as being a blue-collar worker. So that means he can totally dedicate to his craft now. And it showed in his performance this weekend. Anyway, Hearn knew that, which is why he picked him.
Right.
But there were other fighters Hearn could have picked.
Right.
Like you heard me say how many times? Where is Cordina?
Where is he? Vanished, right?
That's a man that's been wanting Shakur for several years. And you know they ain't saying nothing.
I don't think they understand that, Stormy. Because this is what I'm talking about. I'm glad you brought that up. When was the last time you heard anybody mention Cordina's name?
You have?
Now, it's really easy for people to say, "Oh man, he beats Cordina." You don't know that. Don't y'all know that's what Rocky was about? He cherry picked and created the Italian Stallion, and it turned out that Rocky was a dog. He was in club fights, and on paper, you would never have thought that Rocky Balboa would be able to compete with the champion of the world. And look what happened. That's what Rocky was about. On paper, Vernon Forrest was supposed to dominate, not only beat, but dominate Ricardo Mayorga. But Ricardo Mayorga was a dog. So this Cordina thing, the thing is, you don't know what would have happened. Y'all don't know. And I still say to this day, there's a reason why that fight didn't happen. There was something going on that they say, you know what, Shakur got the star power. Ain't no one going to be checking for Cordina. Cordina could go out and lose his next 3 fights, and y'all be comfortable saying, "Oh, see what would Shakur have done to him?" That don't work in boxing. Triangle theories, it really don't work.
And then there's another guy from the junior lightweight division that they put on ice because it turned out that he's far better than they thought. And he conquered Cordina, and that's Anthony Kakachi.
Yeah.
Kakachi is a good fighter. You don't hear nobody calling on him. Excuse me. You don't hear nobody calling on him. And this is the thing that I want to say about good fighters. When you hear me mention them, I never bring up their ethnicity. I talk about their prowess.
Right.
And so when someone has a different agenda, that's when they'll throw these guys' names out there or whatever. But how many years you heard me mentioning Cordina for Stevenson, and it ain't been brought up. And it ain't been brought up by those people for a reason.
That's right.
You understand?
That's right.
And now I say Kakachi as well, because Kakachi was going to fight on one of the Riyadh season events, and something happened, and he ended up either pulling out, he got injured, or something wasn't right with the deal, and he didn't go through with it. But he's still a fighter that's a dark horse out there competing because he can fight. It's a different thing when a guy can fight.
Right.
And that goes along with this thing of your subject tonight talking about who has dog, because Kakachi's got dog, Cordina's got dog. We've seen guys. I mentioned Padley. Padley's got dog. But
Yes. Yeah.
notice I'm talking about these guys on that side because we don't see enough of guys on this side trying to put the dog on display. They're trying to hide the dog.
Trying to hide it.
And put him up in the cage somewhere and pretend like they don't have a pet. You know, all of that foolishness. And it's ridiculous because, as I said before, the real ones are going to surge to the forefront and pass these guys by.
That's right.
What I've been saying consistently, and you're actually starting to see it now.
Benavidez Canelo.
Yeah.
You're starting to see it. And trust me, y'all are just now getting hip to Benavidez, but believe me, they got guys on the inside that had eyes on him for the last 8 years.
Dude, do you hear now the stupid narratives that they're talking about? Oh, Canelo is like shop worn and stuff. It's like they're saying stuff like that about Canelo now because he lost to Bud. It's like, no, he been beating up third-tier fighters for the past year and a half, 2 years.
Come on, of
And
course.
now he's shop worn.
He's
He's like, oh well, you know, he's a little long in the tooth and he's old and this and that or whatever. Come on, man, get out of here.
Canelo's been the same guy since Floyd Mayweather. The only thing that's changed is he picked his opponents. That's the only thing that's changed. And I want people to understand that. There was a whole lot of things that he could have done that he didn't do, but the fact that he had star power
and these apps
got away with it.
And these promotional companies that he signed with to steal the bags, they've been promoting that. They've been letting it go. Didn't we say, why did PBC let him come in there and steal all the money from all of those guys, right? And and they just threw the damn, they backed the Brinks truck up and loaded it up for him. And he said, gracias, and he took it and he was gone.
He sank the zone dead because of him. And let me say this about
HBO.
Yo, listen.
He been doing his thing.
Tuesday.
It's showtime.
Yeah, man.
It's showtime.
Showtime. Bro, Tuesday, I'm going to let y'all know about it because I got questions about the PBC. The PBC, and I want y'all to think about this. To my nerds that watch wrestling, who was around during the Monday Night Wars, Nitro versus Raw, the PBC straight up is pulling a WCW. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. For a second, they had a bag, or the talent ran over there, and what happened?
Yeah.
The ship got sank. But I'll get into it, and it's looking like the PBC. Now, I'm going to point out some facts, and I'll be damned, there'll be some knuckle dragger coming up in here saying that I'm a hater, and I'm hating Al Heyman. And no.
Did you hear Danny Garcia's dad come out?
I heard that this morning. The general put out the video.
Man,
it's all lining up. Now, but wait a minute, though. When Blue said, hold on, Tank can't secure Houston, and then he called over there and said, yo, there was nothing lined up. So wait a minute, somebody lying. Remember when I said, yo, I think they even lied to Tank? Remember when I said that? I said, I think they lied to him. And then the 7-fight deal was bullshit. And it was all bullshit. And all we're doing is asking, hey, what's going on? And now all of these events, and now Fundora got a hand injury. Ladies and gentlemen, what do we know about hand injuries? They're the most difficult to prove. I did a video about hand injuries with a fighter that y'all know and love. And he admitted that, you know, hey, you know, I faked a hand injury because I thought I was getting that bread fighting for Triller on the Teofimo Lopez undercard. But Tio pulled out against George Kambosos for the 14th time. And he had no money from Triller and no money when he was going to be on the main event. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about, what's his name? Trick, what's his name? I forgot his name. Oh, wait, give me 1 second.
Dude, they've been talking about hand injuries for the longest as a reason for guys to pull out of fights and stuff. That's why I can respect what Artur Bitterbeef did, pulling out of that fight against that young man that he was supposed to fight. He said, basically, I just want to wait for the winner of Yard and Benavidez. He didn't fake an injury. He didn't say, you know, oh, my knee is acting up again. He said, I want to wait for these guys. And guess what? He's kind of in a position and got leverage to be able to do that. So I can respect that. It's unfortunate for the opponent who was going to get that opportunity. But why are you like Shakur? The hand problem, like supposed to be fighting, and then all of a sudden he couldn't fight. But then when he could fight, they go and they get a lesser opponent in what they perceived at the time was Padley and everything. I'm like, come on, man, stop playing these games with the public. But see, like Bob Arum said about boxing fans, they're going to continue to do that kind of thing to you until you stand on merit. And there's quite a few people presently that will not do that. It's like, you know what I liken that to? It's like, remember all the shields for James Gunn for what he was doing, being the CEO of DC and everything? And now it turned out the real truth has come out. The Superman movie is a flop. Everything he's doing, Peacemaker and all of that stuff is trash. And people are now frustrated and mad, and they flipping on him. The thing is that the ones that's flipping on him, they really wasn't down with him anyway. They just kind of wanted something different or whatever. But they finding out, it's like, man, I gave this dude support and everything, and he ain't doing nothing but shoving trash down our throat. That's why you have to stand on merit.
Got to.
Stop going along to get along. Man, have some damn dignity about yourself.
There ain't no dignity because this behavior has become normalized, Stormy. We talk about this all the time. This foul behavior is normalized to these cats, man. It's disgusting. Ain't no merit. These guys, these kids, it's different, man. These kids don't stand on anything. We're talking about kids that used to painting their fingernails black before they leave the house, man. Who's raising these kids? It's the crap I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find this video I did because it's wrecking my brain.
Grown ass man walking around with hoodies on.
Exactly. Grown ass man. Where the fuck?
Grown ass man walking around with hoodies on, man. I don't get it.
It's driving me crazy. I can't think of this brother's name. Who's the fighter that faked a hand injury to get to the Teofimo fight, and then Teo he canceled the Triller event. He ain't had no event, and then he did the article and said, "Yeah, I faked a hand injury because my camp, his team told him to do it." And I said, "Brother, you wasn't supposed to do that."
I forget who that was.
That was damn it. I did a video on it. I'm on my what you call it right now, looking for it. Because I'm gonna put that in the chat so y'all could, because I read from the article. I said, man.
Charles Conwell. There you go. Charles
Conwell. Thank you.
Yeah.
Charles Conwell. Conwell. There it is. Dan, that was back in 2021. That was back in 2021. There we go. I'm gonna put that link in the chat so y'all could watch that video. That was that quick 4 years ago? Sheesh. Well, that's the video. He faked a hand injury because his team said, "Yo, look, I know you're the main event here." And I think he had relatives on the undercard. He was headlining, which means they had a venue. They had people coming in to work to sell popcorn and refreshments that day. They had a whole payroll because Charles Conwell was headlining. And his team said fake the injury because you can get on the undercard of the Lopez fight and make more money. So how do you get out that fight or have an injury? They said hand injury. Why? Hand injuries are the most difficult to prove. Now, here's why I'm bringing that up. Yup. Here's why I'm bringing that up. You automatically think, oh, injury, the Fundora Thurman fight is postponed. You automatically are trained to think it's Keith doing this. Now you find out it's Fundora and it's a hand injury. Come on, y'all. And it's the PBC. Come on, y'all. Danny Garcia, Andrew said, yo, the PBC had my son on the shelf for what, 3 years? Hey, y'all, wait, whoa. Where's Errol Spence, y'all? Was he supposed to be fighting Fundora? Remember when he got in front of Bud and he told Bud, I don't do lines? Remember that? I skipped the line. Remember that? What happened to all of that? So I'm wondering, so where's Errol? Where's Danny? Now Fundora got a goddamn hand injury. And then the PBC couldn't secure the Toyota Center in Houston. And then when they secured the Barclays, the goddamn press conference looked like it was sponsored by Temu. So then when Blue said, yo, I think they're having financial problems, all of a sudden, oh, you're hating, Blood? I mean, you're hating, Blue? You're hating. No, ain't no money over there. but don't take my word for it. I'm gonna talk about it. Y'all can call me a hater all you want. But what the PBC needs to do, if they have a problem getting their talent paid and securing venues anymore, if Al Heyman's word doesn't secure a promise of money to whatever venues or who they're trying to work with anymore, then it's time for him to gracefully bow out. And all his fighters tell them, hey, man, if you can go get that turkey money, go get it. Because this is folding. This is folding. Y'all don't act like y'all haven't been lied to before. You remember when what's his name told us that Showtime has fight dates for all year long, and they turned right around and went out of business? Y'all remember that?
Fred.
Y'all got mad at Fred. But when what's his name? That worked for Showtime. Steve Espinoza. He said, no, we got fight dates all lined up for, I forgot what year that was. I was probably 2023. Oh, we got fight dates all through 2023. Literally a month later, Showtime's out of the business of boxing. I said, what the fuck? He just said that we had fight. And then y'all got mad at Fred. And Fred was saying, yo, I've been telling y'all all year long, I play cards with these guys. They told me this shit is over. But I'm a hater, though. I know. I'm Uncle Tom. I'm a hater. Now, look. Don't get mad at the messenger. I was like, yo. When Fred first said that, I said, damn, is he reaching? Maybe they fucking with him. Maybe they lying to him. I don't know. But I'll be damned. He was right.
Espinoza is the Dr. Fauci of boxing.
Yeah. He damn sure is, ain't he? He the damn sure is. Do y'all remember when I asked him? I said, what happened to the franchise status? Do you remember what he said to me? He said, I think, I heard that we're getting rid of it. And I said, Steve, the franchise status is why his brother, and I pointed to Jamel, I said, the franchise status is how his brother didn't get the Canelo shot. So now it's just going to be faded out? That's messed up, man. And this is how they do us. And when we speak up about it, we're wrong. Trick, you got a cash app from Eric Jordan, brother. And so do you, Stormy. Y'all got cash apps. Let me see if I can find that video with Steve Espinoza.
And Drew, I'm going to say this, man. I remember a while kind of started out. I remember Randall Bailey coming on the show kind of saying the same thing kind of before Fred. He said, man, it's PBC a sinking ship. I think we had was you, Stormy. Wow, man, I can't remember the episode, man, but I remember it's kind of when Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford was about to fight, and I remember Randall Bailey saying some stuff about, man, PBC is a sinking ship. They about to go down, and lo and behold, here come Fred. So,
hey,
tell me
right
the whole time.
And what sucks is,
just can't remember which episode it was. Who we had.
What sucks is, you try to support the brothers, you do, but the facts are the facts. How much support am I supposed to dish out when I'm not getting what I want as a supporter of the sport? To support you is to support the sport. See, you're in business. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the business of supporting you. I'm trying to help. You know what I mean? And these guys just don't get it. Let me pull this up. In case y'all never saw it, I asked this man. This is when I asked him about the franchise status, y'all. I asked him. Steve, you mentioned Charlo not being able to remain at 154 being a bit of politics. Can you elaborate further on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, every situation is a little bit different, but you see situations where some guys are able to keep all their titles and fight, and they're given an exception. And this seems like a good situation for an exception. If there's ever a case for an exception, is to do a fight like this. Mm-hmm. And I get it. Now, if I'm the mandatory in the WBO or anywhere else, then I clearly am going to feel different. So it's all about perspective. From my perspective, it seems like, why penalize Jermell for trying to do something great, for trying to do something, sort of historic in the sport. If I'm working with the guy, who's the WBO mandatory, I'm probably thinking, no, come off those belts if you're not going to give me the shot. I appreciate you want to make history, but I'm not waiting another 6 or 12 months.
Well, on the heels of that, what's the franchise status and where did it go?
It's a good question. I read the same stuff you guys. I haven't talked to Mauricio about it. I thought I saw him say that it's probably going to be faded out. So yeah, I think it was, it's an experiment. I'm not going to criticize
because
him.
That was the reason why we didn't get Maul versus Canelo.
Right. And
now it's going to get faded out.
That's what I heard. Look, that's what I thought I read. Look, I'm not going to get upset. Like it's,
I'm not going to get upset
and try, different things, and and maybe it could have worked. If they're going to get rid of it, it's probably because it didn't really serve the purpose that they thought it would.
Read that. Gonna get rid of it. It probably didn't serve the purpose that they thought it would. What purpose?
That dude is a tippy toes.
Yo, look at that. That's an exact quote. Now, I'm not saying that this is his fault. I'm saying that this is what he heard from Mauricio. And it's gone. Right now, it's gone. It probably didn't serve the purpose that they thought it would. What was the purpose? To keep Jamal from whooping Canelo ass. To keep Devin from whooping Lomachenko ass. And to mystify that process, they gave away a third one at one of those booger weights. They just gave it away. And now it's gone. You see? This is the shit I'm talking about.
The ass whooping shield.
The ass whooping, it's a condom from ass whoopings. It's a condom for them because they didn't want to get fucked up in the ring. This is boxing. And they stripped Jamel as soon as the bell rang when he fought Canelo. They stripped him, the WBO. They took his belt. The same thing the WBA did to Guillermo Rigondeaux. As soon as the bell rang when he was fighting Loma, they took his damn belt. Why? This is what these cats do, but then when we come in and ask these damn questions.
Look what the WBA did to Fraser Kendo.
Yeah.
Warn you, in the game of life,
This
you
jerk.
gotta fight. Yo, did your daddy warn you? If you gonna go, there is only one way.
Man. Oh! Look who rolled up. You on mute, brother. You on mute. You on mute.
God damn, hold on. Take that up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, I was with I was doing Mill City, man. And me and Mill City be running off at the mouth like a motherfucker. I told him I had to get with my guys, but you know what I'm saying? I got to talking and shit. But I'm here now. Let's go. What's goody? You know it's yours truly. It's Bone Boxing.
What's good, Bernie? How you?
What's happening, brother?
Happy Sunday, man. I'm chilling, man. I'm talking boxing. I'm in that mode now. Let's go.
Yeah. Yo, it's this ain't a Mill City atmosphere. You ain't even got to worry about that, man.
No, I'm fucking Mill City. What's wrong, Mill City? I like Mill City.
Yeah, I'm not into the back and forth and the rah-rah, the banter and shit, man. We here for the education. You feel me?
Yeah.
We here
Okay.
for the education. We're here to collab, educate, ask questions. We're not here for the disrespect. We ain't on none of that shit. We on none of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. Thank you for pulling up, man. Appreciate you. Much love, man. Thank you so much, brother. And y'all on that. Y'all on a victory lap, man. And I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it, man. I'm so proud of y'all brothers, man.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
You have no idea how proud I am, man, because this to me, and I don't know if y'all look at it like this, but for me, as a supporter of the sport on the outside, this was so deep for me. This was so deep for me because it meant so much more. You understand? It meant so much more. And when the fight was signed, Bernie, I'm gonna tell you the first thing I noticed, because usually the Mexican fans, they gets to trolling when they know Canelo about to fuck somebody up, right?
Mhm.
And I noticed when this fight got signed, I'm watching my chat. I said, yo, where the Mexicans at? Why they ain't talking? I said, this is strange. So I just kept I stuck to my guns. I said, yo, y'all do know that Bud's all wrong for Canelo. And I said, they're going to come eventually. They're going to come. They never showed up. They never, which means they knew. I said, yo, look, the fact that they not in my chat calling us all kinds of mayates and all this other disrespect, I said, they know what we know. And I said, yo, fuck, I'm all
They do that to you? You get messages? Really?
Yes. Yes.
I love my Mexican fans, and I never really heard no disrespect from them for real. All the disrespect we get is from niggas. So, excuse my language. No, really from like us. So, you know what I'm saying? I never really see no Mexicans, and I love the Mexican people. You know, and I didn't.
I don't want to paint them with a broad brush. I'm talking about the motherfuckers that come over here, and it's more of a because of who I am, and I get it. But I noticed that they were quiet. I'm talking about the trolls. See, let me be specific. The trolls that came over here and be disrespectful, they didn't show up. They didn't show up, and I found that strange. So I just kept on with what I was saying. I said, look, stylistically, okay, y'all ain't gonna come over here and troll and be nasty. Let's talk boxing. I said, Bud is all wrong for Canelo, and I broke it down. Why?
Yeah. I
said he's not bigger than Bud, so get that out your mind. I said Bud is a couple of inches taller than him, has a longer reach, and I said, you know, and I'm gonna be very transparent, man. I'm gonna tell you the exact night Bud made me a believer. All right, and y'all already know what the fuck I'm fighting. I'm gonna say it was the Arrow fight. I was there, right? And I said, okay, you know, Arrow was a little big and whatever, da 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 da. And then I saw the at the weigh-in, and I got a good. That was the first time I got a good look at Bud, and I'm looking, and I'm like, timeout. And I'm looking at Arrow. I looked at Bud and I looked at Arrow. And I said, wait a minute. I'm literally scratching my head. I said, wait a minute. There's no real difference. So then you know how you know the meme where they have the numbers going on in your head. You know, they have the numbers going in your head. And I'm like, I'm like, wait a minute. Then I start factoring in the things like, wait a minute. How that clinch gonna look? You know, Bud could wrestle. How that clinch gonna look? And god damn it, first round, Bud showed me what it was. And I fucks with Errol, but it's boxing first. And Bud showed me in round one what it was. And I said, you know what? That's just what it is. That's just the reality of it. Bud is a bad motherfucker, man. But there's only a couple of guys that I say that are throwback fighters. Bud's one of those guys. And this man right here to my left, he's been saying for goddamn Stormy about 6 years. He said, yo, look, he said, Drew, Bud's gonna get that off on Errol. And he broke it down exactly how the fight played out and why. And he was 110% correct as to why it was gonna go down like that. So I'm gonna give it to you, Stormy.
Yeah.
So you can whatever.
Yeah. First of all, let me say much respect to you, Bernie. It's good to meet you, talk to you. There's a lot of what you guys are doing over there in your gym that I really have a high regard for, because it has the element of old school teaching, old school fundamentals, and the way that I can see not only with skill sets and everything, you guys are cultivating fighters' character and everything over there too. And that goes hand in hand with success. And as Drew was just saying a moment ago, even approaching the Spence challenge for Bud, I had said way before that, but first time I saw him fight was his fight against Ricky Burns. And when I saw him, I said to myself, I said, this guy reminds me of somebody. Now, I've worked in the gyms and coached guys as well. And it's funny, I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm looking at him, I'm like, he reminds me of somebody. So then it came to me, not in that instance, but over a little bit of time as I watched him in a couple of more fights. I said, he's a throwback, but he's a throwback to some guys that I saw in the previous era, not the last generation and era like with Roy and them, but it goes back to Ray, Tommy Hearns, Hagler, Benitez, those guys. And I said, you know what? It's not one man. He has elements of each of them. He can box and has hand speed and movement like Ray Leonard. He can punch like Tommy. He can switch orthodox and southpaw like Hagler.
Yep.
And basically, he has that thing in him that Tommy Hearns had, that killer instinct. When he get a guy in trouble, he can finish him. Tommy was excellent at that. So it's amazing because now, with his accomplishments, he has become a 3-division undisputed champion. Those were 3 fighters from that era that I said that I was able to assess that he combines elements of all 3. Do you see the symmetry there that I'm talking about? 3.
I see. I can see what you're saying. I can see that, but I mean, that seems like the only people that everybody know. It's more boxers than Sugar Leonard, Tommy.
No, that's not all who I know, but that was from that era.
But nobody talks about nobody else. Nobody, you can't bring up nobody else. I'm not trying to get on you. I'm just saying. I'm tired of getting sick. You tired of getting sick. I'm sick and get tired of hearing those guys. I mean, nobody else. That's all they keep talking about is them, the same guys. You can't think of no other fighters. You can't think of Johnny Bratton. You can't think of Kid Gavilan. You can't think of, like I'm saying, Ike Williams. None of these other guys. Nobody don't watch nobody.
Guys, but there's a lot of present dudes today that don't go back like that. So it's kind of like, you know,
y'all here for education, right? You gotta educate them. You said, but you said you're here for education. Y'all said y'all here for education. So I'm saying you gotta expand your. You can't just keep saying Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler. You gotta educate them. You gotta bring them into the fold on something else. But I do what you see, what you're saying. And Crawford is a throwback fighter, and his skill set has always been second to none from everything that you've seen him do. So ever since you've seen Crawford, he had a brilliant skill set. So I mean, you could see the way he took apart Postal. You could see the way he adjusted against Gamboa. You could see the way he dominated against Ricky Burns. You could see the way he split the guard of Benavidez and hit him and dropped him with the uppercut, made him do a cartwheel. So I mean, there's so many different other things. How he can punch on the move. You know how good his jab is. He had a great jab, excellent jab. Nobody really give him enough credit for his jab. You know, and different elements of those things. And like I'm saying, he has the skill set to sustain him after his reflexes leave, after his speed diminishes a little, and things like that. He has the necessary tools and the mindset and the output and the intellect to win fights on his wits and his skill set.
What I say here, Bernie, is those names you mentioned are notable names. The thing is, a lot of these new style fanatics, and I stress the word fanatics, they don't know any better. So when they come to us with the obvious names, like the sensei mentioned, the obvious names, we say, well, you know, Bud, so all of those guys rolled up into one. But if you got to dig into your bag and you mention the names that you mentioned, they're gonna be like, huh? It's like, go Google it. You know what I'm saying? Don't find the highlights on YouTube. Go watch a regular fight from start to finish to understand why we say these things. You understand what I'm saying? So definitely giving Bud his flowers because this man made history, man. This man made history. You could legitimately say that nobody has done what he's done in this era. He is power. We had people come in and try and throw Lomachenko around to Usyk, and I said, man, look, Usyk said that Bud's pound for pound number one. He said it before the Canelo fight. He said that. So don't get mad at us. Don't get mad at us. He said it.
Listen, you haven't had. These are his peers. You understand? These are his peers, and these are the ones that's fighting alongside of him. That's giving them this type of praise. You got the young greats. I'm on the phone. I'm doing an interview. You got his own peers talking about him like that. And like I say, I mean, if you watch boxing, like I'm saying, what is that? Is they just watching them throwing punches? What are we really watching boxing for? We're not watching to see nothing. Like I'm saying, the things that they're not studying boxing, they're just watching fights. They're just watching fights. They're not watching to see exactly what they're doing and how they're executing the game plan or you know what I mean. They're not watching nothing that they're doing. I don't understand. Like I said, Crawford been dynamic in everything he's doing. He fights everybody the way he needs to fight them. He dominated all the guys he's been there with. He's the most avoided guy. He's the most. I mean, Crawford just dynamic, man. You ain't seen a guy like that. And you don't. When I say this, you don't even see a fighter that has roused so many emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Who? What other fighter makes people so emotional in the last? I don't even know, 20 years, 25 years, that makes them actually emotional. Like I said, you can go if you go on right inspiring too, that inspires so many. You can go on, like I said, you go on your Instagram story and you put in, you want to put a song to your reel or to your story. If you put in Bud Crawford, it's going to be like 10 songs named after Bud Crawford, titled Bud Crawford. I have never seen so many portraits drew that were made after Bud Crawford. It's like Joe Louis, man. It's like Joe. I never seen nothing like it. I never seen serious business in a modern time. They making songs about this man, not just referencing him in a song. They're making full songs titled after this man. This is on Instagram. If you go on your Instagram stories and you put in the music, when they select music, if you type in Bud Crawford, it's going to be at least 10 songs with the title after Bud Crawford. You don't see nobody put with this type of emotion, man. You don't see it. You don't see it. You just don't see it.
Every now and again comes an athlete that takes the baton and like literally runs with it, and it's at this point, like, when it's in particular when it's a black athlete, I get a little protective. Not a little protective. I get a lot protective for obvious reasons. I get a lot protective, but I don't want to get deep into that.
When you get it, but you got to understand too, though. Who carries the torch like a Bud Crawford in a way? He almost like Obama, bro. In the way that he carried his championship, you can't even name a fighter that carried the championship like this man. This man never praises himself. This man never diminishes none of his opponents or his peers. You never seen him in a scandal. All his fights are clean. He's been blackballed, kicked around, talked about, shut out, and still keeps the same heart, still keeps the same everything, and actually gets better at it. You seen the I mean, you just seen him. You just see this heart as a man. You seen the interview, one of the greatest interviews that we had in a long time with Andre Ward. You know, and the other interviews with Shannon Sharp. Any of them, the other ones that's on a big platform, you can see this man. You can see what type of guy that he is. So you've never seen nobody carry the torch like this. And you're talking about a black man at the same time, with his children, with his family, with his community. With his actual community, with his actual family, good, bad, or indifferent, with these people in the heart of his town. I mean, man, you just don't see that. Like I'm saying, you just don't see that. No scandals, no PEDs, no low blows, no thumbing, no stepping on nobody's feet, no cuffing their mouth when they in the clinches so they can't breathe. He just beats people's ass fair and square.
Let me say this. He's in good company. He's in good company. My brother Deontay Wilder, he tried, but they robbed the fuck out of him. That pissed me off to this day, pun intended. The brother Devin Haney, they tried to rob him, and luckily New York State Athletic Commission did what they did. Salute to the Queen Clarissa Shields, our sisters everywhere supporting all these brothers. So Buzz in great company, and I'm just glad that the business and he had a good team around him to prevent the bullshit happening to him. I'm happy that he's in great company, and I watched the I guess you can call it the lead up to the fight. I really love the connection you guys have. It's more than a camp. You guys are a family, goddammit. And that's very, very, very important. And I respect the hell out of that, man. I respect that because you need that. You don't need anybody in your camp backstabbing and backslipping and talking crazy. And poor work output reflects leadership. And all I see is leadership in that camp, man. And that's dope. That is dope. So, you know, Buzz in great company. I'm just ecstatic that he's able to accomplish all of this, and then we got to see the level of support that he had outside of the ring, man. That was big. You, Bomac, and everybody else, man. It's all like a perfect pot of gumbo, and it tastes great, man. That shit tastes great. And that's just big. So let me try and get in y'all business a little bit. Is there like a plan? Is there like a 2-fight, 3-fight plan? You know what y'all got cooking? Or is that something you can't speak on?
No, I think he done. I mean, you know what I'm saying? This is we just want to be 1 month tomorrow since the fight. I don't think he's thinking about, you know, nobody's thinking about what they're gonna do after just 1 month. Right. You know, so I don't think he's gonna fight no more. I don't want to see him fight no more. There's nothing else to prove. You know what I mean? There's nothing else to do, and unless he just still want to fight, but I don't see it no more. I think we done. I don't know when he's gonna announce it, but I would like to see him announce it. I would like to see him, you know, announce it and go off in the sunset. What more can Bud Crawford do? If you just now appreciating them, then it was, you know, it was short lived, and you know, but for those who've been around and seen the greatness and appreciate the performances that he put on, you know, then you know you was there. You know, it's a culmination for you too. So I don't see him doing nothing else for real. I think he's a hell of a role model for the young boys coming up, and I think I would like to see him keep doing that. I think his name is bigger than ever. I think his status is bigger than ever. I think his persona is bigger than ever, and I think he can use that to make his name, because I think who he is as a person is shining through, and the fighter that he is only adds to it.
Wow. Okay, because you know I don't mind that either, to be honest with you. I don't mind, because his place is etched in stone in history. I don't mind. I know Turkey wants to see him at least in the ring 3 more times. You know what I mean? Go figure. You know, if you were to play the game, if you were to play matchmaker, let's say Bud call you up tonight and be like, yo, we hitting the gym in a month. What do you think he would do? What direction he would go, and what would you recommend, if anything?
There's nothing. I'm telling you, there's nowhere else to go.
Mhm.
There's nowhere else to go. Unless you just want, like I say, you want to fight to stay busy because you just want to stay fighting because you know you really don't got nothing else to do to fulfill your life. But I think he has other things to fulfill in life other than fighting. So that's I'm telling you what God love. I can't. That's it. That was it. You know, he'd have been good getting when he done with Earl Spence. You know, but obviously he has a couple more things in him to go. You know, it's no more. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do. You don't leave on a bigger stage in a better position. Why would you even do anything else? I don't even think nobody could bring out that in him anymore. I don't even think there's nothing out there that could bring him to that anyway. There's no competition that can. Nobody can beat Bud Crawford right now. Nobody. I think that's
Yeah,
that
to
has
me,
been
that was the
so
ultimate Mike.
so so like I'm saying, nobody can beat Bud Crawford right now. Nobody's gonna beat Bud Crawford. So there's nothing else to do right then. You leave right now when everything is good. Because there's nothing else. It's only a come down. To fight Lara is a come down. To fight Jenna Beck is a come down. To fight any of them guys is a come down. It's not unless you're looking at far as like I'm saying, then it's Crawford. It's the event of Crawford. But other than that, it's it, it's nothing. He did his swan song on the biggest stage. There's no other reason to go nowhere else. There's no other reason unless, like I'm saying, they want to give him the 100 million, not 99, but 100 million. That's gonna turn anybody's head, 100 million. But if he ain't getting 100 million, not 75, not 80 million, even though that's good money, if you ain't gonna give me 100 million, there's no need for me to actually get in the ring. Even though, like I'm saying, that's astronomical money. But
Yeah.
I'm impressed because you got the money. If you got the money and you want me that bad, everything obstacle that I went through, everything and the way I've done it, I blew these guys out. I want 100 million. You say you want, I need 100 million. But I don't even think, like I'm saying, that's how I would see it.
You don't think Turkey gonna come with that?
I don't know. I don't know. Like I say, he got the money, but that's the only way I would see it. 100 million. But I don't even think he got plenty of money. So I don't even think he needs the 100 million. We don't need. It's only so much money a man needs, and I think he got more than what he needs, more than what he could hope for, more than what he could want. So in that case, just leave it alone. I would just leave it alone.
Trick, you want to jump in here? You were saying something, Trick?
True.
Go ahead, bro. There's a little. He got a little lag. Yeah, the StreamYard is tripping on his end. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So let me just play devil's advocate. Let's say Turkey hits the team up. He says, "All right, bud, I got 100 milli. All right, you want to do something at 160? What you finna do? You think Bud will be like, hey, man, let's get it?"
Like I'm saying, I don't know. That's what I will hope for him. I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't know what he's gonna do, man. I'm saying I don't even. Why don't we just celebrate what he's doing now? We are all steady trying to get on to the next. We ain't even 1 month yet celebrating this, and everybody trying to push for what's next.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I had a problem with. I mean, that Sunday, I had to remind cats. I said, look, man, David Benavidez was Canelo Alvarez's responsibility. Don't do that shit. Don't do that. And they tried, man. They tried. And salute to David.
No, that's because Turkey did that shit. Because Turkey did that shit. Turkey did that. Turkey the one that did that. So that's why. If Turkey would have never said that, then nobody would have thought about that. But Turkey did that. Turkey put that out there when he put out "Can Benavidez make 68?" Turkey started that shit up. So I really don't like him. I don't like him doing that. I don't appreciate him doing that for real. That was just he was like messy and weak as fuck to me. And he kind of, like I said, it's like I think he can buy everybody now. I think he can buy everybody now, and that's kind of annoying. You know what I mean? Because now we're gonna see. It's just like now I'm starting to feel a little bit disrespect. Like I know you got money and everything, but come on now. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Come on now. You feel like you can just buy everybody now. And obviously that really ain't even it, because he ain't making some of them guys, they ain't put enough money for the fights. Or they that scared.
So do you think that Turkey is doing things for himself, or he's trying to put these matchups together, bless you, for the greater good of boxing?
I would say, trying to get Bud to fight Benavidez is not for the greater good of boxing. Like I'm saying, Canelo was a guy that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I agree with that. I agree with you. Go ahead.
So Canelo was a guy who was, and they didn't want him to fight Canelo. See, you know what I'm saying? They didn't want him to fight Canelo, but Bud insisted on Canelo. But he was a smaller guy that had moved up as well. Benavidez, where did he start at? He probably started out at 68. You know what I mean? So you know how big Benavidez gets. So he been killing himself to make 68. Yeah. He been dying himself to make 68. So he really should be at like cruiserweight for real. But in the politics of boxing, people do this to have an advantage or to be in a more popular weight class or something like that. So, I just think it was tacky on his part to even do that. And I understand that Benavidez, who's getting a lot older now, he was 21 when he won the title at 68. But I understand Canelo was the cash cow, and you're going to shoot for the stars when you with Canelo. You know what I mean? But after that, that was just that. That's Canelo had been a reigning 68-pound champion. You know what I mean? So this guy was, and they've been talking about it for a little while. But after that, Canelo wouldn't fight him, so he moved up. So I'm saying if he wants to be the greater good of boxing, put this guy in a fight where he's evenly matched in a sense. He's a lot bigger than Canelo, a lot longer than Canelo. They just fighting at the same weight. You know what I'm saying? Put him in there with like Bivol, put him in there with Better Be, and make the fight. Give him the money. He's the Mexican monster. He's this, he's that. Put him in there with fights like that. Those are the fights that guy should be having.
I agree. I agree. Turkey, in my opinion, with the Riyadh season, it's a good idea because it's a double-edged sword and a big, Go ahead, Trey. Go ahead. Can you hear me, Trey?
Yeah. I was anyway. Shout out to you, Bernie. I want to say the same. Yeah. It's kind of like a lag, but I would say the same thing too, Bernie. This is how I felt when Roy Jones beat John Ruiz for the heavyweight title. I was like, Roy, that's it, man. No more fighting. Don't get in the ring. You got nothing else to prove. Walk away from the sport. And then he ended up fighting Tarver, and it went downhill from him. With Bud. I hope after this, he don't have to fight no more. There's nothing else left to prove. You know what I'm saying? And the fact I don't like the fact is that a lot of boxing fans that don't like Bud, they're trying to push David Benavidez on him. That was Canelo's responsibility long time ago. So,
yeah, but the thing about Crawford, like I say, I understand what you're saying about Roy Jones, but first of all, Roy Jones had a lot of weight to cut. That was a big thing. And then secondly, Roy Jones he does not have the the boxing, the true ability of boxing to sustain himself as like a Bud Crawford do, the true basic fundamentals to prolong his career, you know. So that was gonna be Roy Jones' downfall anyway, you know. And when I watched the fight with Tarver, he was right in the way of the left hand. He went right in the way of the left hand. He wasn't out the way of the left hand. He bobbed, he danced, and he went right back into the way of the left hand. So that was like a lack of IQ on his part, you know. But again, like I'm saying, he didn't have the, even in the first Tarver fight, you could see it. He went to the ropes a lot, and he pulled out with flurries. He pulled the fight out with flurries. So he doesn't have the sustainability like a Crawford did, like a Bernard Hopkins did, like a James Toney did. You see, even though he whooped James Toney at a lighter weight, but James Toney was able to go up to heavyweight as well. James Toney was able to go up to cruiserweight and perform at a high level, you know, because he has the fundamentals of boxing and the different things to sustain him in a boxing match. Roy Jones, once he didn't have the reflexes, he didn't have nothing. You know, and Roy Jones was a super at what he was, but he didn't have nothing else after that.
Once the athletic ability vanished, Roy, because you know, Roy, you could never train anybody in the gym off the street to fight like how Roy did in his prime, because you would get them killed. So once that natural ability that he had, once age caught up with him, he didn't have enough of the.
I wouldn't say it's his age. I wouldn't say it's his age. Because, like I say, these guys all fought at a higher age. I'm not saying this is age. He didn't know how to hold. He didn't know how to turn a guy. He didn't know how to the overall fight. He didn't know how to prolong the fight. He didn't know how to do that. Like I'm saying, he didn't know how to do that.
I'm sure he learned it, but he got away from it, and he hurt himself. And
you never seen him do that. Everything was off athleticism. You never seen Roy Jones do that. Never. When has he won a fight with just straight boxing, where he just he didn't?
And that's the whole point. Once the athleticism disappeared, that was the end of it.
I'm saying he never learned that. He never learned to box like that. He never learned how to box in a conventional manner. All his boxing was unconventional. But he was super at what he did. That's just it. He was just super at what he did. Just like even Sugar Ray Leonard. You see how he was able to sustain his career. Y'all talking about Sugar Ray Leonard. Even Tommy Hearns, after from getting knocked out a couple times, he was still able to box his way through things, beat Virgil Hill at a later age, who was a young killer at the time, silver medalist.
Yeah.
Different things like that. You're seeing how he was able to sustain because he had boxing ability. He had to actually know how to box, the fundamentals of boxing and the way the fight is going. Roy Jones just didn't have that, you know, for what it's worth. So I think Crawford, he has that. Crawford, like I say, like a Mayweather, he knows how to win a fight. He knows what to do to get through the fight. And so he could do that. He'll beat all those guys. Janabek, Lara, he'll beat all those guys. But like I'm saying, I just don't see it. I don't see the purpose in it for real.
Well, other than legacy and just saying that he did it, that's the only thing I could see. Because no one really sees anybody at 160 beating anyway.
The legacy is already it's legacy. I mean, it's a legacy.
That's what I'm saying. Add the legacy solidified, but to add to it, I mean, I don't think so. But let me ask you, since you're here, did you watch Boots last night?
Yeah, of course I did.
All right, your thoughts?
He did what he was supposed to do against a guy he was supposed to do it against. I mean, nobody is easy, and he you know, we didn't know what that guy was gonna bring, and he looked it good, but I think we already seen him look good like that. I mean, how many times we done seen Boots do the same shit to other guys? We seen him do that, so we know what he can do. But like I'm saying, is who is he doing it against? Like I'm saying, this is not even a Xander Zayas who's not a super champion. He's a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? He's not. So who is he doing it against? You know, and I'm just saying that I hope that all the stuff that he was talking last night and all the stuff that they were talking, because they didn't talk big like this before and nothing happened. So I'm hoping that we don't get to see him do all this talking. Now, again, like I say, we didn't have, he turned down a fight with Tio, right? He turned down a fight with Devin Haney. He turned down a fight with Virgil Ortiz already, right? So I don't want to hear Backroom, the IBF champion, already just said that he's willing to fight him and he's ready. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear about nobody trying to get Boots Ennis. These guys all want the smoke. I don't want to hear nobody, oh, he couldn't get the fights. I don't want to hear that. And if Eddie Hearn, like he say, he's in with Turkey Al-Sheikh, and Boots is supposed to be the second coming or the hybrid of Roy Jones and Terrence Crawford, then there should be no reason why he's not fighting a named guy next. I don't want to see him in there against the guy that they upgraded to champion after Bud. They stripped Bud of the title. If he anything less than Virgil Ortiz, and Virgil Ortiz is not a champion, is a fail.
Well, I'm on record saying moving forward, there's no light work at this point. Virgil, Fundora, Mel, Bakram,
Keith Thurman.
Right, all of those guys. It's straight hard work at this point because
now I want to see him against the young ones though. He can fight the old ones later too, but I want to see him against the young ones. I want to see him against the Fendoras. I want to see him against the Backrooms. I want to see him against the Virgil Ortizes. I don't want to see him against Charlo, who been out for 2 years. Even though I give him credit for beating Charlo, but I don't want to know. Go with the guys that are hot right now. Go with the guys that are hot right now. There's no anything less is a fail. 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 I don't want to see none of that shit. I don't want to, as much as they talking about you, as much praise as they trying to give you, as much as they trying to say people hating on them, and as much as they trying to talk about he's the second coming of Roy Jones and he next to Bud and this and that, anything less is a fail. Anything else, anything less is a letdown.
Actually, when you pulled up, the title of my show tonight is the definition of dog, and people being crowned and called all kinds of things, and they haven't done shit yet. It's like they right there, and there's nothing but space and opportunity to make something pop, and they're not doing it. Tank is one of those guys, and Boots right now is one of those guys. I just want to see these dudes do something.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
You know, I can't put all my eggs in the Boots basket until he actually fights a contemporary. And if he could shine against a Bakram like how he did against a Lima, I'm gonna say, oh shit, this guy's everything that they say he is. But right now, I can't get that to him.
No, you can't. You can't. You can't. And like I'm saying, is this, you know, can he tell me a good reason why he would want to fight Devin Haney at 52 when Devin Haney hadn't even fought at 47 yet?
Nope,
he didn't even refute that. He didn't even refute that. He's not even defending the things that being said. So what does that say? You know, so if you're not defending it, it's not like you know, it's hard to defend these things. You know, Devin said they approached him about the fight, and they came back with 52. Okay, so he not even saying that. And even when they interviewed him last night, oh boy was about to ask him some of that, and he didn't even want to answer. If you watch the interview, he was trying to, okay, but now we doing this right now. You didn't even want to talk about it, you know. And his own crew that follows him, YSM, they never ask him no tough questions. They would never ask him, why would you want to fight Devin Haney at 52? They never asked him, what's the truth behind you not fighting Virgil Ortiz? Is that true that they offered you to fight twice and you turned it down? Is it true that they've been saying this rumor saying that you needed a tune-up fight before you fight Virgil? They're not asking him that. They're not. He's got his own people that ask him the bullshitest questions. You know. So
to me, these are simple answers. But people don't want to put that coat on their favorite fighter, and it's not hating on Bud or hating on or Errol or hating on Boots or hating on Philly. I'm not hearing none of that shit. I want to see the best fight the best. That's all. As a supporter of the sport, that's all I want to see. Bernie, I want to ask you something.
Hold on. I'm not opposed to showcase fights. I'm not opposed to that as long as they lead up to the bigger fights. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to watch like Sweet Pea fight guys that I never heard of. You know what I'm saying? I watched these guys fight like Osceola Hoya fight guys like Daryl Tyson, who was a solid fighter. You know, you seen Corte fight. You know, different guys. You know, you seen them fight these guys that they wasn't necessarily the ones that, but they was. I like to see what you call showcase fights. Shane fighting Jesse James Leha, fighting John Brown. You know, in between. You know, I'm all for those fights, but as long as they lead into something. Yeah, as long as they're leading to something, that's all. I like to see him perform, and the way he looked last night, that shit, it was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? If he'd have got 3-4 rounds of that shit, combinations looking good, fucking dude up, making them miss, making them pay, that shit entertaining. I wouldn't mind seeing that, but we didn't seen it already on enough levels. We didn't seen it already. So now it's time to fight somebody that can actually give you a chance. That's at least perceived to give you a chance. That's
Bert,
it.
I want to ask you something. I want your opinion on something. I was in Vegas the night that Bud and Errol fought, right?
Yeah.
After the fight, right? Bud jumps
Yeah.
on the rope, and I'm in the crowd. I'm watching Bud. Bud looks at Mel Charlo and says, "You next." So I put my hands together like Birdman. Now, at that time, I said, you know, to me, that makes the most sense because at that time, Jamel was undisputed at 54.
Yeah.
So we were like going in order. So I said, man, that's going to be dope because the storyline made itself. You know, Bud just became undisputed by beating Errol. And then, you know, Mel next up, I can already see, and I envision, you know, Bud versus Texas type of thing. It sold itself. And plus, the brothers are getting together, they're making their money. But Mel is in there talking about Canelo. And I'm like, bro, man, fuck Canelo. Make your own way. I thought that fight would have did more numbers and it made more sense at that time. But what were your thoughts on it?
Well, I'm not knocking Charlo for that. And I was giving him a chance in that fight for real because he showed a lot of grit in him holding the 154-pound crown down. You know, like I say, I'm a fan of boxing, even though he was hating on Bud and was, you know, became a problem once Bud became a threat to Earl Spence. You know, he had a lot of hate on us about Bud, but still, like I say, I'm a boxing fan, and I respected him a lot, you know, more than the other brother because the other brother won't do shit. So I respected Little Charlo, but he was going there, and of course, you know, again, Canelo was a huge popular fighter. A good fighter, a great fighter, and everything like that. He's going up there to fight he's jumping 2 weight classes himself to try to become undisputed a second time. But he went up there and laid an egg, you know. So I feel like he should have been. He was already gone off of that point. You know, he wasn't even thinking about fighting Crawford. He was already making like a foregone conclusion that he was going to beat Canelo and this and that. And he didn't even, I don't even think he notified the organization to say, this is just a fight and I'm coming back. You know, no need to strip me. No need to do that because I'm coming back. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like the way he performed, they had no reason but to strip him, which is wrong because of perception. You know, maybe if he'd have put up a better fight with Canelo, they probably wouldn't have stripped him. But they seen him, he went out like a coward against Canelo. They stripped him. They stripped him. And he didn't even take a beating. He just ran, he just didn't fight. He just did not show up. So he wasn't finna go in there with no Crawford, like I say, and then he was scared to death of him. Crawford went in there and pushed that man around. Man, ain't nobody wanted with Crawford, man. Nobody wanted with Crawford, man. Crawford boxed his ass off, man. Crawford, man, you see what he did to Earl Spence? He did that while he was beating up Earl Spence. He was beating his ass. He did that while he was doing that. He was beating his ass, jumped on there, grabbed his nuts on him and everything. And then went over there and shook Earl Spence's head, tapped gloves when the round was over. Come on, man. That's a bad nigga right there. Bad nigga right there. He was beating the shit out of Earl Spence right in front of his face and got on the rope. Boy, man, shit, he didn't want that. You see what he said to James Harden, man. I'm fighting Canelo, man. I already did that. Well, he already did it too, motherfucker. You weren't the only nigga that did it. He did it first. He was the first nigga Crawford the one that started the trend of that undisputed shit. Nigga, that wasn't no trend until Crawford started that shit. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Crawford was the one that started the undisputed trend. Shit.
Salute to Destiny Black. She said, I know radio ain't the definition of dog fighting lemurs, the lemurs of the world. Get radio out of boxing. Radio keep trying to attach himself to butt. She talking about Boots. She calls him radio.
Yeah. The people just like Eddie, they keep using him as they keep using him to promote Boots when they ain't nothing nowhere near like. And I said, I ain't got no trouble with Boots. Everybody keeps saying is that, but listen, the man already had enough times to fight him. He had an opportunity to fight him. He didn't fight him. Okay, for whatever reason, hook or crook. And I'm saying, what is this now? I'm saying this, like I'm saying, what you going to do to feed your family? You know what I'm saying? What you going to do to get where you need to, right? If you're not helping me get to where I need to, then you need to get away from me. You're not in my best interest. You don't believe in me that much. You know what I'm saying? If I'm saying I could beat this guy and I'm ready to take whatever happened to come with it. If you quitting me, you don't want to promote me no more. You don't want to deal with me if I lose. Okay, but I'm willing to take this chance because I could beat this guy. So high risk, high reward. You know what I'm saying? If I beat this guy, I ain't gonna have to look back no more. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna have to worry about it no more. I'm going through the roof. But did he do that? No. His team didn't want that fight. He don't want that fight. Boots, like I'm saying, it's aggravating me because, like I'm saying, stop saying that shit about Bud. Like I said, I tried to get on Greg Hackett. I talked to Boots. I talked to Breadman. They all from Philly. Like I'm saying, I know that's your boy. I know you believe in him a lot. And y'all talking about what you seen them again in the gym. Y'all ain't talking about nothing. Y'all talking about what you see them in the gym. And like I said, he talking about Breadman. I seen him. He said, and we had a big conversation about that. I said, you talking about, well, he wanted to fight Bud, so he don't owe Bud no favors. He did not want to fight Bud. Stop saying that. Stop saying that. Stop saying that. If he was going to fight Bud, why wouldn't he fight Tio? I just said this on every platform. Okay. Why wouldn't he fight Virgil Ortiz? Okay. If you're going to fight Bud, but you need to tune up to fight Virgil Ortiz, you're going to fight Bud, but you need to fight Devin Haney at 52. Come on, bro. Come on. Stop saying that. You turned down Teofimo. Come on, bro. Brian Norman, you won't even give him more money. Tell Eddie to give me more money. You didn't already spar with him. You didn't already see what he like. Tell him to give me more money. Fuck it. Lomachenko gave Teofimo more money. Lomachenko gave Teofimo more money. Y'all know that, right? Lomachenko gave Teofimo more money. Okay? And that was a tough fight. He ended up losing the fight. He gave him more money. Give him more money. Try to make this shit happen. Do whatever you can to make the shit happen. You believe in yourself. Do more. Do something else. Do they do that? No. Do they do that? No. No. No.
Do you what do you know about well, probably don't know much about the dealings, the situation between Boots and Eddie Hearn. Do you trust Eddie Hearn as a promoter to do the right thing by anybody?
No, I trust him to promote. That's all he can do is try to get his guys in the best situations that he can. And he's doing it. But at the same time, shit has to come to the fans. You know, you only can promote so much. Like I said, you only can put so much, tire on the tread. It's so much, it's only so much you can go for with this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's only so far. And again, all the stuff that they talked last night, which is okay. But if he goes and fights the guy that they upgraded, who we don't know, who was damn near like a lemur, come on, what does that say? What does that say? What does that say? What does that say? If you go and fight this guy we never heard of, and who's considered the weakest champion because he didn't win his title, he upgraded him to the championship, okay? He's not a Xander Zayas, who we've seen a lot of. He's not a Fandora. He's not the Bakram who just destroyed Tim Tszyu. He's not this guy. So if you don't fight, he's not Virgil Ortiz, who we seen to fight Madrimov, who beat the back what's his name, Boachuk. He's not this guy. He's not this guy. So if you fight this guy, what does that say? Come on now. Sometimes we gotta come out. Something gotta happen. Something gotta happen. So if we go through all this you just said and you fight a boss, okay.
Christ, man. Destiny Black says Bud is water in that ring. He could adapt to anything and destroys everything. Radio is Jeff Lacey 2.0. He has the boxing and the ring IQ of a fruit salad. God damn, y'all put Jeff Lacey on, Boots? Holy shit. That bad?
Well, the thing about Jeff Lacey, I don't want to say that, is that we wasn't giving we don't give them European guys, some of them we don't give them a lot of credit. But Jeff Lacey was one of them. And he showed you after that the way he destroyed Calzaghe, the way he destroyed Jeff Lacey, and the way he went on after that. You know what I'm saying? And the things that he had been doing. And we wasn't looking at his attributes, the things that he do good in the ring, his boxing ability. We wasn't giving and I'm the same way, because Red, Coach Red, he the one that really put me on Calzaghe. Because I'm always putting them European guys down too. I don't think much of them neither, but I had to give some of them a lot of credit, and Calzaghe is one of them. But I think this guy has got a lot of goods, but I just don't believe he believes himself. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe he believes in himself. He does not bet on himself enough. He doesn't believe it in himself.
Man, sky's the limit because the names are there. And I honestly think that 54, that weight division in my eyes, and I could be wrong, I don't know everything. 54 is a pit stop. You go there, you clean up real quick, and you get the fuck out. You get on to real middleweight. That's just my opinion.
That's what it always been. It always been a dog. It been a hell of a division, but it nobody never stays to you know what I mean. Nobody stayed long enough, you know. And
Right.
But it's always been some dogs in 54. It's always been some dogs in that division. It's a hell of a division, and right now he can do that. Like I say, he can do that. He got enough time to do that. I don't know what the middleweight picture gonna look like, but he can do that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if you got a guy like Eddie Hearn with a lot of pull behind you, it ain't really not too much you can't do. And
Right.
I think those guys are willing to fight. It's just you have to just make it worth their while. You know what I'm saying? And if you are what they say you are, then it's worth it then. Because it's just like when you selling dope. Okay. You used to get an ounce for 400. But then sometimes they went up to,
I don't know nothing about that.
they went up to 500. Okay. Well, some people might have sell them for 400, but the guys that sell them for 400 ain't around, so you might have to spend 500. But you're gonna make 1,400, or you're gonna make 1,300. It's still worth it. You know what I'm saying? When it was a drought, shit, Zips was 1,200. I used to get them for 600, 700. Shit, you had to pay 1,200. You gonna make 2,800. What you gonna do? It's still worth it. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, you got to get where you got to get to. So like I said, if whatever it is, whatever means that is, you have to get to it. You know what I mean? And if your guy got deep pockets and your guy is everything you say is, then you got to give these guys extra money, because like I say, or a little bit more. You got to make it worth it. You got to spice up the pot somehow to intrigue these guys, because why wouldn't I milk my title like you're trying to milk your title? Why wouldn't I try to make it best for me? When I could stay over here and get steady, or just lose it all, So, the proof is in the pudding. And like I say, Crawford demanded that he fight Canelo. When is this guy gonna demand that he fight somebody?
And like I said, ain't nothing but space and opportunity, man. So I don't get it. Unique Dawn, salute. She out there with y'all. She was out there celebrating with y'all at the parade and everything. She got some pictures. Salute, Unique Dawn. She's a strong supporter of y'all for years, man.
Okay.
Man, I'm just so I'm over the moon for y'all, man. I need look, I agree with you. And I said it after that bell rang. I said, first of all, Bud smoked this dude. Second of all, he ain't gotta do shit else. He ain't gotta do shit else. And he could leave right now. And what you gotta be away out the ring for 2 years to be considered for the Hall of Fame. Is that the rule? It's 2 years.
Too long. It wasn't. I thought it was 5.
I don't know. I
It's
don't
too
know.
long. Well, we know he's going to the Hall of Fame. We know that, and then everything that he's done, like I'm saying. Okay, boxing. You didn't have the 140-pound division was a good division when Danny Garcia had it. Maybe it was all right. Well, it was. Was it Timothy Bradley? See what I'm saying? He had the guys to what he did at 140. The Lamont Peterson, the Kendall Hope, the Junior Witters. Who else did he beat? Devin Alexander. You know, he had those guys to clean up the division, and when it was a hot division, and he that's why Timothy Bradley is who he is. You know, then he moved up, fought Marquez, fought Pacquiao, and the like, and dominated at 47. But like I'm saying, so Crawford, you know, he fought the most feared guy in Victor Postal. You got to go back at a time, just like in any sport. They might not have lasted long, but you got to go at one point in time for a short period of time. This guy was the guy. You know what I mean? Some guys like that. And at the time, it was Postal was the guy. He was the guy. Okay, he still did all right after the fact, but you know what I mean? So even if you want to try to cancel out Ndongo, he beat the number one guy at that weight at 140. He beat the number one guy at 35. He beat the number one guy at 47. At 54, he couldn't get I don't know who the number one guy, they saying Fendora or whoever it was, but he couldn't get those guys because they turned him down because they said they wanted to fight Errol Spence even after, bless me, after Errol Spence got beat to death by Bud Crawford, the man still wanted to fight Errol Spence. Now I don't understand. I don't know why would you want to do that if you're trying to be a champion. Okay, if you're trying to solidify your claim to the championship. But that's what he wanted to do. Okay, he wanted to fight because Bud was going to fight. That's why they made him the WBC interim, the WBA. He was WBO interim, and he was WBA champion. So he might have been an interim for both WBC and WBO. He was the full WBA. He wanted to fight this guy, but they wouldn't fight him. So he went on about his business, you know. I mean, so he fought everybody. He fought the number one guy. Then he moved up 3 weight classes. Like I say, Canelo had 2 losses. He fought a prime Mayweather, and he was a baby. Okay. He fought Bivol, who was a great fighter, a young fighter, a reigning champion for over 5 years when he fought him. Now, Bivol, a lot of people didn't know who Bivol was, but he had been a reigning champion for 5 years, WBA champion for about 5 years, only 25 years old. So he fighting a young, rangy, good boxing fighter, and he lost a fight to him. So he only had 2 losses. He only fights 2 years, two fights a year. Okay, he stays in shape. And Crawford went up 3 weight classes to beat him, arguably. 3 weight classes to beat him and dominated the fight. So, I mean,
he did his damn thing, man. He did his damn thing.
You don't. Nobody else could have did that. Like I say, you got Charlo, who was considered a big fighter, and he went up there and pussied out. He went out there and ran. You had William Skull. You had William Skull, who was big as fuck, and a Cuban. He ran the whole fucking time. Come on, man. I seen Abel Sanchez. I seen him before the fight. I said, we gonna do what your boy couldn't do.
You told him that?
I told him that to his face.
What'd he say? What'd he say?
He just smiled. I ain't lying. I seen him going in the past, and I said, oh, Abel said, I said, yeah, I heard what you said. I said, we gonna do what your boy couldn't do. And we did it. I told him
I don't fuck with Abel at all.
I told him to his face.
I call him Fable Sanchez because he's full of shit. Especially what he said about black fighters. I don't fuck with that guy at all.
Oh, I didn't hear what he said about black fighters.
Oh my God. He said black fighters don't sell and we fight. That's a pleasing style. I have the audio, I have the video. And all I did was I put a highlight reel of black fighters knocking the shit out of people. And black fighters don't sell, but he ran out. That was when he was running around with Gennady Golovkin, and Gennady Golovkin showed him who was the boss. He showed him that you're not my father figure. I got a twin brother, and my real father's alive. I'm getting the zone money, and I'm cutting your punk ass out. And the last time I saw Fable Sanchez, he was coaching Dominic Brazil, and Otto Valen beat his ass.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah. As a matter of fact, Fable Sanchez, he was in William Skull's corner.
Was he?
I don't know. What was you said? Who's the last person he coached?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, but you know, he came up with Terry Norris.
Time. He the one that.
Yeah.
You know,
that's why Terry Norris is like that.
How dare he say that shit? Of Terry Norris, you know, how dare he say this is a motherfucker when he was coaching Triple G, he wanted Floyd Mayweather at 47. Triple G was a whole middleweight.
Yeah.
What the fuck you doing? But then when Andre Ward said you ain't coming to 168 unless you fighting me, all of a sudden they say, "Oh, Andre, you bullying the smaller little G." That's when Andre Ward started calling him little G. So then they say, "Well, why don't you take your inactive ass and go up and fight Kovalev?" He did it and beat the shit out of him. But prior to that, he beat the shit out of Sullivan Barrera.
Yeah.
But just I put the spotlight on Fable Sanchez. I don't fuck with him off of that. That was crazy. Yeah. That was crazy. You saying all that bullshit? Black fighters don't sell. We fighting the styles less pleasing. You want to fight little ass Floyd Mayweather and duck Andre Ward. Get the fuck out of here. Another thing that pissed me off, when Andre Ward was still active and he was working with ESPN.
I think. Stay in there. Close my door.
I think that Bud had just beat. I'm gonna put this up. Let me know if you remind me of what fight this was. What fight was this? You can see that?
That was Diaz. That was Diaz. That looked like Diaz.
Well, Bud stretched him. And unprovoked, Bud is standing there, and Andre Ward was still active.
Uh-huh.
And this is what pissed me off. Unprovoked, Teddy Atlas just says to both of them, Lomachenko's #1 pound for pound. So I made this meme. Bud and Ward says, how much they paying you to say that shit, Teddy? So the disrespect to black fighters has been going on for forever. And Bud just won by knockout this night. I was so mad, almost threw my Tim at the goddamn screen. I was so pissed off. And this is how they do us, man.
Well,
that's that bullshit.
You know, we live in a Caucasian's world. You know what I'm saying? And so anytime a white guy is doing great things, they're going to, you know, the only thing that separated Lomachenko was that he wasn't American. If he was an American white boy, you know, he would have been a billionaire. Same thing with Tyson Fury. If he was an American heavyweight, there was been no amount of publicity or press or, you know, limitations that he could have exceeded. You know what I mean? But it's just the way it is. You know, I mean, we the best in everything, you know, and to say that we don't sell is you know, it's a narrative that we put on each other too. You know, like I said, you know, you got most of my Bud haters are Negroes. You know what I mean? Most of my Bud haters are Negroes. They're not white boys. They're not Mexicans. They're Negroes, you know? And so we do a lot of disservice to ourselves. And again, you know, like I say, when you got a guy like Crawford, you know, when there's nothing to laugh at, you know, Mayweather, he I wouldn't say he done some clownish things, but you know, he does things that taps into our ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Flashing his money, flashing his jewelry. You know, we all weak for stuff like that. Flashing his cars and stuff like that. You know, he got some, you know, things like that, you know. So, and then you got Broner. But I love Broner because Broner was more with his words. Broner was more witty. Broner had a lot of jokes. Broner was, you know, had a lot of, you know, pizzazz with his words and his personality, you know. But when you got a guy who's all about business and who stands on morals, principles, and values, and who will not shake or fall, you know, sometimes it makes other people uncomfortable, you know, and I think that's what Crawford did. But you know, I think we support each other a lot. You know, Roy Jones had a big following. I don't know what you know, Roy Jones had a big following, huge following. You know, his fan base was crazy, and we all tuned in and watched Roy Jones every time he fought. You know, he didn't ever have the big opponents, but when Roy fought, it was a party. You know what I'm saying? I know how many parties I went to Roy Jones fights, you know, so it's just a narrative and propaganda that goes on sometimes, you know, and to watch us is to watch art, you know what I mean? And sometimes art can be a little boring or a little bit, have to pay a little bit more attention as opposed to, you know, a slugfest. Even though there's art in the slugfest, there's you can have a somewhat artistry in slugging, but like I'm saying, you know, it's easier to watch, or it's glares out more with the action as opposed to the art of a boxer. But you know, we've been the best, and we will continue to be the best, and we've shown that in every instance.
Well, look, Bernie, man, I'm over. Like I said, I'm over the moon for y'all team, man. And but listen, he rides off into the sunset. He deserves it. You guys worked. I like hearing Bomac saying it's work time. When they got into the shoving match on stage, and Bomac said, "Yo, Canelo, it's work time." I said, "Canelo's done. It's over with, man." So everything played in perfectly. So if Bud walks away from the game, I'm completely satisfied with what he did and how he did it, because he did it his way, like the song. He did it his way, and I'm so cool with that, man. I ain't got no beef with Bud. I had questions like I have every fighter, and I must say Bud answered all of those questions. Errol, Kell Brook, Victor Postile, the Sean Porter shit. You know, I don't know if you remember, I ran into you in Vegas, and it was being spoken about. And I asked you, I said, "Y'all gonna get the Porter fight?" You was like, "Yeah." And I said, "Yo, how you think you gonna do?" You said, "Yo, we're gonna maul him." And I said, "What?" You said, "Yo, we're gonna maul him." That's just what you did. So I ain't got no problem.
Beat him easy. Sean Porter, we beat him easy. The fight was not a close fight. Sean Porter, he got beat easy, and I respect Sean Porter. But Sean Porter was not. Bud won that fight easy, controlled every portion of the fight, every minute of the fight. Never was he compromised. Never was he uncomfortable. He controlled the fight, and Sean Porter ain't never had no fight like it. He beat it. He give everybody other fits every time Sean Porter fight. Sean Porter was helpless in there with Bud, and Bud showed him a couple of times. So, I mean, like I said, you know, Crawford just dynamic, you know, and he been like that since an amateur. He showed these skills. Al Mitchell, the great Al Mitchell, when he seen Crawford when they came to our hometown and he was fighting in the Nationals, that's the one he wanted was Crawford. He saw that boy is bad. That's a bad dude right there. That Crawford boy is a bad dude. When he fought in the Olympic trials against Saddam Ali told him, his dad told us, he said, "We the only one we worried about is Crawford." That's what he said. The only one we worried about is Crawford. You hear me? So, I mean, Crawford just dynamic. And the thing about Crawford is that he studies his craft. He takes his craft seriously. He looks deep into himself. So how can he get better? What is he doing wrong? What can he get better at? And that's just what he does, you know. Then he got Bomac, and he got Saul, and he got Red also along with him, that been with him since he was a baby. You know, that they got a great boxing minds too. So, you know, Bud and Crawford, they over there actually getting Eubank ready for the second Conor Ben fight. You know what I mean? So when you getting with these guys, you know, you getting with Bo, you getting a psychologist, and you getting a great boxing mind at the same time, because Bo is a great psychologist. Bo is a guy who really loves his fighters and takes them in. He's not a celebrity trainer. When he takes you in, he takes you under his wing as like you're a son. You know what I'm saying? He's not a celebrity trainer like a Freddie Roach or any of those guys. You know what I'm saying? And they good trainers. But Bo is a guy that takes you under his wing and really puts his mind and his heart in there with you. So, and like I say, Bo is a great boxing mind. You know, great boxing mind.
I hear it in the corner work. I'm really keen. I unmute the TV because I want to hear what the corner's saying. And Bomac told Bud everything correctly. I said, "God damn, man!" And when they went to Canelo's corner, When it was translated into English, it was punch more,
Yeah.
throw flurries, do
Yeah.
it for your family. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is that?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
in other words, they had no answer.
No
They had
answer.
no answer. Bo was
And
telling them exactly what to do. I said, man, this shit over.
all right, now listen this. Now listen this. I want you to understand this as well. First of all, just like with Earl Spence, they paid no homage to the corner or to Crawford. Derrick James didn't give Bud no didn't give Bo no credit and was very mean and nasty. And Errol Spence was the same way against Bud. They never give him no credit. Reynoso, it wasn't so much because Canelo's a legend, so we really wasn't like talking a lot of shit. It wasn't really like that situation. It wasn't a real emotional situation. But he said that Crawford can't hurt him, but he can hurt Crawford. So he was already planting his own demise. You know what I'm saying? He was already making his own demise. And then, like I say, is this: they never have no spiritual background. You never heard Canelo thank the Lord not one time. Out of all the success that he's had, now we talk now because the Lord is for everybody. It ain't about no race when it's the Lord, right? The Lord is with everybody, right? So there's no race when it comes to God. God is the Almighty over everybody. He never gave homage to God not one time. Out of all the success that he's had, out of all the great deals, out of publicity, all the blessings that have been bestowed upon him, he never thanked God not one time. He could never win that fight, bro. He was never going to win that fight because Bud was doing God's work. Bud was doing God's work. It was David versus Goliath on so many levels, bro.
Man, I can keep it up. I ain't gonna take no more of your time. You dropping gems, man. Bernie, personal question. Well, not personal question, because people don't know. Want to hear from you because you'll know. What's Bud's walk around weight? Like, I know he a gym rat, but let's say there's no fight coming up, he's just chilling. What's his walk around weight?
Well, he was 185. He got up to like 185.
I figured that. That's why I said Canelo's not bigger than him. But
he started to get if it goes up because you get a little older.
Yeah.
He's more on the road. He's been traveling a lot. He's been going around cross country ever since the Earl Spence fight. And imagine, he's been like, more of a world traveler. And with his age and Bud, I don't ever see him eating a lot, but he's always been a big bone guy. You know what I mean? He's always had to make weight ever since he was 106 pounder. So, but he's naturally gained a weight. I think he was a welterweight when he was a welterweight. He went to junior middleweight, and I think he'd have been great at junior middleweight. But like I say, he filled out great at 68. He was like I say, he got up to like 180, 85, I think. And so he had to cut a little weight. He started early, like he said. You listen to him. He said, I've been training for this guy since February, so I didn't just wait till the fight was announced or whatever it is. Before the fight was even announced, I was already getting my body ready and my mind ready to fight this guy. And so, like I said, he's sparring at these weights though. At 160 something. He's coming in the ring at 60, 62. You know what I mean? So, and he's looking fast and dynamic at that. Why wouldn't he be? You know what I'm saying? He's just going to be fighting at what he normally would come in the ring at, depending. You know what I'm saying? So from 47, he probably walked in the ring where Spence probably about 60, 61, 62, maybe. I think for Madrimov, I think he was he 70? I think he was 170 or something. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what they said. He was 170. So, and you seen how fast he looked in there. You see the combinations he was throwing against this guy. You see the way he was going both sides to the body. And, we had a hell of a sparring partner, man. This guy was a hard coming bull, hard punching fighter. They bring the pain to you all the time, come at you hard charging. And so he was more than ready, man. But like I said, you see how he looked great up there at 68, didn't he? Fast, fleet-footed, strong. I mean, shout out to Crawford, man. That dude's a wonder, ain't he? That was a bang.
Legendary. And again, I have no problem with him hanging it up right now, man. I have no problem because that's that's just dope, man. That's just dope, man. I ain't got no problem with him. Of course, there's gonna be things I'm like, the what if, or what if he could have did this at 60, whatever. But you know what? If he don't want to do it because this is what he's accomplished, I'm cool. I'm cool.
But listen, you always that's the part of being a legend and being a great. It's always what if. You have to keep them guessing and wondering. You're worried about what Rocky Marciano could have did if he didn't retire at 49. No, they worried about what Ali would have did if he wouldn't have got stripped of those 3 years. You know what I'm saying? They worry. They worry. It's different things. They, like I say, what would Roy Jones be if he'd have quit after he beat John Ruiz? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even Bernard Hopkins, if he would have just stopped when he beat Pascal for the you know what I mean, and instead of getting knocked out by Joe, whatever his name is, or you know what I mean. Even though he didn't really take no beatings, so it didn't really hurt his legacy as much. But I'm saying if these things didn't happen, we wonder, So Andre Ward, you know what I'm saying? He's retired. What if he would have? Like I said, what we'd wonder what he could have did, more so. It's always wonder, and everything. And I think that's just add to his mystique. And I think he didn't leave us wondering too much. I think he leave us believing more that he could, and then that he couldn't.
Man, salute to y'all, man. We appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, Bernie, man. We'll definitely have you back, man. I appreciate you for pulling up, man. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, all right, sir. Later. Appreciate you.
Later. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Bernie from Team Bud, man. I know Stormy had a lot going on in the background, yeah. But yeah, man, the definition of dog. Bernie was supposed to pull up a couple of days ago, but everybody busy. Everybody got their own thing going on. But yeah, man, I want Bud. I don't mind if you walk away. I mean, as a supporter of the sport, you want to know if Bud could go to 160 and just take shit over, and maybe him and maybe him and Boots could lock horns, but at this current junction, Bud don't need to do it. And if he sticks to the guns and says, "Hey, man, I'm done," I'm cool. Man. I'm cool because he mentioned some names there. If Bernard Hopkins hung it up after Jean Pascal, think about the last time we saw him. Joe Smith, and he went skydiving out that damn ring. If Roy Jones Jr. hung it up after John Ruiz, the next fight he goes down to fight Tarver, and it was Fugazi since then. And we got countless examples of that. So Bud don't need to do anything else. He can if he wants to, but he doesn't need to do it. And if you don't need to do it, and you got the bread you want, you got the generational wealth, it's okay to walk away. I'm cool. It's everybody else that's got to fill those shoes or try and outdo what he did. So, damn, it's 9:16 already. Stormy, closing thoughts. I'm going to wrap this shit up.
Bud Crawford is definitely a modern day exemplary factor as a dog when it comes to the sport of boxing. He has really lit a path and become a beacon of inspiration for any young fighters that really want to accomplish something. It's amazing how some of the promoters and management, some of the announcers, people who have influence with microphones and are standing before cameras, that they sort of take away from fighters who deserve merit and adulation. I couldn't help but think just before I came back here, Bob Arum, Teddy Atlas, Max Kellerman, some of the influencers who have been announcers and everything. Could you imagine where Bud could possibly be if they hadn't chosen to make the remarks that they made against him? And had they treated him like they treated those who were proven to be undeserving? I'm talking about the Chocolatitos, the Triple G's, even the Canelos, and even more, the Lomachinkos. Imagine had he been given the just due and considerations. You remember me hitting you up the week before the fight, the week of the fight, rather, when they had the grand arrivals, and how miffed I was when Max Kellerman, the first thing he said to him is, you seem to be embracing the role of the villain very well. You remember how when I talked to you about that, I was
you
like,
spoke about the things in between that most people would miss.
Yeah. And I was like, you know, this right here, this is exactly what I'm talking about, you know? And this was not a hero villain promoted situation. This were the alleged 2 top pound for pound fighters squaring off for the prize.
Right.
There were crossover supporters for both men, and they laid it on the line. Now, what really made it great was Canelo and his sincerity after being humbled. How he was able to come back and say, hey, I just couldn't do nothing with the guy. He is truly a great fighter. That's basically it, summarizing what he had to offer. And Bud, in turn, gave him his belts back the same night and shook hands with his family. Class. Nothing but class there from both men. You see, boxing is not dead. But I'll tell you what is dead. The mindset of the ignorant. That's why they don't elevate. Because when you're dead, they put you 6 feet under. You don't go and ascend to the heavens.
That's right.
There is no elevation for the dead. So those are my thoughts. Thank you for having me be a part of tonight's show, and salute to the chat.
Absolutely, y'all. No live tomorrow. I got too much to do. My boxing channel should be up and moving probably Tuesday or Wednesday, more like Wednesday. They still got me in YouTube jail because they don't like what I said about Tank. But I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to be more careful on how I tell the truth about him. Or, as you young, skinny jean, painted fingernail wearing kids say, hating. But I'm going to discuss the PBC because obviously there's an obvious problem going on. Time reveals all truth, and a lie is nothing but a long way to the truth. And you're finding out that the PBC is on shaky legs, and at this point they shouldn't even be in the ring. So salute to Al Heyman, but I think it may be time to let these guys go so they can go make their living elsewhere. So with that being said, salute to everybody in the Venmo, the Zelda Cash, and Super Chat. No live tomorrow, but I might do some videos, shit like that. And love each other. Stop being so damn ignorant. You know what you do when someone's ignorant? You don't deal with them. Bronx on deck.
Move! Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.